Hello traders and welcome back to another market update. My name is Nick and we're going to be taking a look at the currency market to look for some potential trade setups as well as major zones and structure on the big major currency pairs, starting here with the Euro USD. Let's go ahead and jump right into it and let's see what's going on here with the Euro. Now, if we look at the 4-hour chart, we are still trading sideways on this particular pair. If you remember from last market update, we talked about the fact that price has been oscillating back and forth between this structure here. Now going forward, it's not out of the question that we do see price test this low once more, and if we do, there might be some intraday opportunities or even a swing trade based on kind of the bounce off of this low. Now, is that a guarantee? Absolutely not. There's no such thing as guarantees in the market, but rather just building probability trades. Right? So if we come down to this area, we have seen buyers step in and push price off of these lows nicely multiple times historically. So there's a good chance we do see some sort of reaction once price comes down into this zone. From there, you could manage your trade. You could look for some sort of confirmation. If you look for candlestick patterns, all of that sort of stuff is up to your discretion and how you like to trade it. But if price comes down to this area, I think we have a chance to see some sort of buy zone hold in this general area. Next up is going to be GBP USD, which is trending up and continuing to do so. However, we are seeing a pullback here on this particular pair, right? If we draw this trend line that's kind of fresh, we have a bounce there, a bounce there. We do see price coming into that trend line currently. Now, to combine it with another factor, you can see if we get our green rectangle again, we do kind of have a zone here off of the kind of bounce that we have seen here, as well as a mini bounce there and some structural holding right there, right? We did see price hold that low pretty nicely right around here multiple times. We wicked back down and retest it once more, found buyer demand and push price off of that level. Now, currently the question will be, can we hold this trend line combined with this support zone? I think there's a pretty good chance, and overall GBP USD might continue its momentum to the upside that we have seen for quite some time. But on the long term, right, the trend has been down, but we have kind of broken that structure, which is why we might likely be seeing a lot of momentum to the upside currently on GBP USD. There's a lot of shorts covering their positions, maybe those longer term traders kind of getting out of their shorts, causing the market to continue to rise. As we pull back to a major structural level, it'll be interesting to see if we can get some sort of bounce off of this structure point here. USD JPY is going to be our next one, guys. And if we take a look at the 4-hour chart, you can see we are also seeing bullish momentum on this particular pair. Now, if we draw a Fibonacci retracement here, let's draw it from here to the top. You can see that currently we're trading right around the 38.2% level. We've held it pretty nicely, right? And there was also kind of a major zone combined with it. Let's point that out as well. You can see that we did gap open down here and found immediate buy pressure here, right? Causing a support zone in this general area, as well as this pivotal point here. So here, it's not out of the question that combined with this 38.2% retracement and the pullback zone here to that nice little level might give us a bounce here on the long side on USD JPY. If not, there's also a major level to look for here on the 50% retracement. This major zone here was tested twice, right? Once on the wick and a second time when we consolidated right around that level. So that was kind of a major level, and also combination with the retest right here. Next up is going to be Brent crude oil. And let's go ahead and take a look at this gap that we've been talking about on Brent crude. You can see that the gap here was a major move to the upside, right? And price tried to start to fill it, but we actually have found some sort of support zones along the way, right? This area here was an initial support level, but actually broke through and now acted as a resistance. You can see right there, when price came back up into that area, it actually found seller resistance on the pullback. Now we're testing another zone right here. You can see we put in another low and we held this structure point here. Price is currently pulled back to that level and looking to either retest and find buyer support, or if we break through, we might be headed to fill the gap. That will be the next question here on Brent crude oil to see what happens in this major area. WTI crude is going to look very similar. You can see, in fact, we even have kind of the same general zone here of what was resistance now holding as support for the time being, but price is looking pretty bearish currently to see if we can test and break through that structure. Again, if we do break through that structure, it's not out of the question that we see this gap here that the market still has not filled kind of close all the way. Next up is going to be gold XAU USD. You can see we are coming into a zone currently that I want to mention to you guys, which is this one right here. We're looking at the 4-hour chart, and if I make this pink really quick, you can see that price is pulling up into a zone which was once a support level, right? We've retested it as resistance, and we also have retested a second time as resistance. So as price comes into this area, it will be interesting to see if price can actually hold this. This, in fact, will also be a major moment in time to decide whether or not bulls are in control or bears are in control. Because if we look long term, right, and we draw this trend line that we've looked at multiple times here on market updates, you can see that price did hold this level very, very nicely as we called it out. However, when we look at the 4-hour chart, we do have some structural resistance that we need to break through if this uptrend is going to continue. So if you're a bull, if you're looking to get long on gold, well, you might want to wait for some sort of structural break of this zone here, or look for some sort of confirmation that there's a good chance momentum will continue. With that in mind, if you're a bear, there might be some sort of opportunity if we can see some sort of breakdown off this structure. Some sort of lower high here would be really, really bearish, right? If we put in, especially if we put in a lower high on the daily chart, that could be the signs of an early warning sign potentially of a downtrend ensuing. Next up is going to be USD Swiss here, which on the 4-hour chart is very trendy to the upside, right? You can see we have had a very clean trend upwards. And so what to watch here is, well, are we going to get another bounce? Of course, is the first question. And if that starts to show some sort of confirmation, if you look for a candlestick pattern or trade the lower time frames to get some sort of bias, we could see some sort of a bounce. And if we do see a bounce, we might be headed back to structural levels of resistance at the top. In fact, if we also draw a trend line along the top, you can see we do have kind of a channel market here, right? And you can see it wouldn't be out of the question if price really started to move, we could see a retest of that trend line on the top. Now, if we're looking for a sell opportunity on USD Swiss, I'd be looking for some sort of major break of this structure, right? And then a potential retest of that area, and look for some sort of sell opportunity along the retest. That's just me. That's how I would look for a potential trend line break. If I was a bear, I would wait for something like that to happen on USD Swiss. GBP JPY is the next one. You can see is currently pulling back. If we draw a Fibonacci from the low to the high, we are still a good distance from the 38.2% retracement. And if price comes down into that area, there might be some buy opportunities on the long side. You can see if we make this light green, you can see overall a nice little structure area, right? Resistance and then became support, and it's also lined up with the overall trend. That would give us a nice little pullback zone to look for. GBP JPY on the very long term, right? Looking at the daily chart, very, very bearish. However, more recently, we've seen a big bump in momentum to the upside, which may very well continue into a bigger move. GBP Canadian is going to be our last one for the day, guys. And what we see here is that GBP Canadian is currently pulling back. And if we draw a Fibonacci, kind of a longer term one, you can see this low all the way to this high. Again, we have some distance between this and the 38.2, and I also like this level as a potential level of buy zone just because we have this structural point here as well as the 38.2% level, and overall a nice move to the upside. Guys, thanks so much for joining me for today's market update. We'll catch you next time and have a great day.